Welcome back here again to First in Preparedness, where we have a very boring but informative episode about how to store your ammunition for your beloved AR-15. Now on this table here, I have a couple of different examples of ways to store your ammunition. Over here on the right, I have a couple of plastic containers. They're just Plano, not only plain, but Plano plastic ammunition containers. Over here on the left, I have some surplus 50 cal cans and 30 cal cans. Now, we're going to discuss each of the advantages and disadvantages of storing your ammunition in these two types of containers. So first, let's cover the plastic ammo can by Plano. Now, these are, of course, available just about anywhere. Any sporting goods store is going to have something like this. And one of the distinct advantages are they are extremely lightweight. They do store quite a bit of ammo in them as well. I mean, this is just boxed 5.56, and I'd like to say, I don't know, there's something like well over 500 rounds in this case alone. Now, some of the disadvantages are, of course, they're not quite as durable as, say, a steel case like a 30 cal can or a 50 cal can. Not only that, the rubber gasket that sits inside here is not very robust compared to that of like the 30 cal can. And we're going to show you kind of what the 30 cal can looks like. But in this case, I typically use these types of ammo cases for ammo that I'm going to shoot within, let's say a year to 2 years. In those scenarios, this is plenty of protection for the ammunition. It's not going to degrade. Typically, I put a couple of desiccant packs in these as well. It just keeps the ammo dry. So moving on. Next, we have the ever so popular 30 caliber ammo can. Now, if you're going for something like long-term storage, this is probably the best solution for that scenario. As you can see here, I've got the caliber listed on the top and on the side. Not only that, I've got it listed on the front. But inside of this case, if I can get it open, I haven't probably opened this in 10 years. Inside, I obviously have the desiccant packs on top. Not only that, inside here, I keep a couple of stripper clip loaders and a small little piece of foam rubber to take up that last little gap where ammo boxes won't fit in that. Now, how I have this ammo stored is basically these are on stripper clips, and they also have the 30 round ammo boxes. So conveniently, each of these boxes contains enough ammunition to load an entire magazine, standard capacity magazine. As you can see, these are also green tips. So in this case, I basically have 540 rounds. With that, these stack in here perfectly. It takes up pretty much all the space. And with this type of storage, I mean, this ammunition will store indefinitely. Probably if you came back in 100 years and I put these desiccant packs back in here, it's not a very humid day, thank goodness, so these won't absorb a whole lot of moisture at this point. But this ammunition will be as good as the day I packed it. Now, there's an interesting, I guess you could say, philosophy of ammo storage. When you read any box of ammo, it says, store in a cool, dry place. Well, there is some truth to that. You do not want your ammunition exposed to moisture, especially. Temperature is not as critical as people think it is. With that, you don't want to store your ammo in a situation where it's over 150 degrees Fahrenheit, but stored in your garage. Everybody, I don't know, I've seen on the internet where people argue about this, but you talk to any chemist that's involved in gunpowder making, gunpowder, primers, things like that do not break down until about 150 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you store it in your 110 degree garage, nothing's going to happen to your ammunition. However, if it's exposed to moisture, that is going to drastically affect the ammunition. I know of stories of, people unloading packed ammo from World War I and it firing just as well as the first day it was made. So this is how I store my ammunition for long-term storage. Like I said, I don't typically open this up. I think these were actually packed back in 2009 or 2010. I don't open them. This is something I use for long-term storage if shit hits the fan. Now, let's move on. How to actually make these things last forever. Now, should you decide to go out and purchase some of these surplus ammo cans, there's some maintenance items you should do before you store your ammunition in those particular things. The first thing that you want to do is obviously open it up. You want to look at the seal that goes around here. As you can see, the seal is almost a ½ inch here, and it's a bit more robust. But the first thing that I don't want you to do is go and grab some Vaseline and smear it around here. There are some kind of considerations that you need to take when you're dealing with rubber. I work in the rubber industry, so to say, and petroleum products tend to attack rubber quite readily. The other thing that makes rubber degrade over time is, of course, ozone, oxygenation, things of that nature. But there are ways you can prevent this. Now, if you do buy a surplus ammo can like this, make sure that there is no rust or pitting on the outside of it anywhere. Look at the bottom, look at the back, make sure there's no, bad rust on it. Beyond that, what you can use to lubricate or renew this particular rubber seal is this silicone lubricant. That plays well with rubber. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take this off just so I can make this easier for you to see. So inside here is this rubber gasket. Now, what I would suggest doing is taking some of your silicone lubricant, grabbing a cotton ball, and spraying some of this on there. Just like that. Not a lot, just a little bit. Now, also what I would suggest you do, especially if you're dealing with an aerosol can that could potentially have some petroleum distillates as the propellant or accelerant for this, I would let this kind of dry a little bit, let those accelerants kind of, evaporate. Once that's kind of evaporated a bit, I'd call this good. Take that cotton ball and smear this off. Now up close, you see how there's kind of some oxidation here. When you rub this on there, that seal looks nice and new. Exciting, folks, isn't it? Just rub that silicone spray kind of in there. Let that seal absorb some of that. And you're ready to go. As you can see, there's a little bit of, oxidized rubber that's on here. After that, nice and wet, ready to go. That's what she said, right? And it's good to probably seal ammo for probably the next 100 years. There you go, folks. Ready for storage. Let's say you're just starting out storing your ammo for the first time and you don't have all these wonderful, nice little boxes with 30-round magazines or 30-round boxes that you can store them in on stripper clips. Let's see how much regular ammo can you store in one of these 30 cal cans. Well, we're going to find out right now. I'm going to start putting these in here and see how many you can exactly store. This is going to be very boring, so fast forward if you want to go through it. So here's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 180, 200, 220, 240, 260, 280, 300, 320, 340. I get that in there? 360, 380, 400, 420, 440. See if we can fit this in here. No, it won't go in that way. So, I guess that leaves out some. So you can get 420 rounds of regular boxed ammunition in one of these 30 cal ammo cans. Isn't that awesome? Now, in the plastic case, I had 40 more rounds. So you can get quite a bit of ammunition in one of these cases. Probably enough for, starting out and shit hits the fan. If you're going for long-term storage, this would actually be fine. I just keep my long-term ammo storage a little bit more organized. But you can get 420 rounds in one of these cans in these 20-round boxes very, very easily. Throw some desiccant in there, seal it up. It's going to last 100 freaking years. Another way to store your ammo, but I'll probably save this for another video, is keeping your ammo in bandoliers with loaded. Basically, you pull these out. I'll have to show you how to actually pack this because that's a whole nother separate video. But this 50 caliber ammo can will hold 840 rounds, and I'll show you how to do that in the near future. Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, and you want to store your ammo like this, you have to get some of these. These are 223 or 556 ammo repack kits. Now, a fine example of inflation is, look at the price of this. I bought this back in 2009, or no, I think it was 2011 I purchased actually these kits. These kits were $8. Right now, to get one of these 223 bandolier ammo repack kits is about $12.95 to $16. So roughly twice the price, 50% increase in cost. These things are extremely handy. They do come with stripper clips, the bandolier, and of course the boxes. Now the good news is you can buy these stripper clips in these boxes separate even today. They're a bit more expensive than what they were in the past, but they do come in handy, and they are very well suited to packing up like the 30 cal cans as I showed you earlier. That particular can will hold 540 rounds. Let's go into kind of how these stripper clips work. How a stripper clip works, it's a small, metal encased piece of brass. There's two little tabs here on either end. You fold one of those up to start to load your ammunition in. I'm just going to give you an example of how basically 10 rounds works, which is one of these clips. But it's very easy. You slide your ammunition onto these clips before you store them. Notice I said clip instead of magazine because this is a clip right there. That's your clip. Now let me show you the convenience of how these things work. You grab a magazine And conveniently, all of the Gen 3 Magpul magazines accept these. You slide that clip onto the back, and then you slide your clip into that, and guess what? Loading this becomes extremely quick. Watch this. Bam! Your magazine's loaded with 10 rounds. You take 3 of those, slap those down in there, you've got a full magazine. Now, typically my philosophy is I only load magazines up to about 28 rounds per mag. I don't actually go the full 30. And there's a good reason for this. If I go to slap this in a rifle and it's loaded absolutely to the capacity, this is a lot more difficult to insert. With 28 rounds seems to be a sweet spot where it just slides right in. The good news is, with 28 rounds, you're not going to be fighting putting that magazine in the gun. With 30 rounds, you have to slap this thing extremely hard to get the mag in. Now, with 28 rounds, it tends to go in quite a bit easier. So, here's a little tactical tip for you. So I always say, well, folks, there it is. How to store your ammunition long-term and how to store your ammunition short-term. In an upcoming episode, I'll probably cover how to actually pack ammunition into this 50 cal can using the repack kits. Unfortunately, they are much more expensive than they used to be, but they are really effective at efficiently storing ammunition. With that, thank you for tuning in. And of course, we'll see you on the next episode of First in Preparedness.